Hello and welcome. My name's Dr. Virgil Troy, and this is day one of my self-styled Barley Man Gladiator diet. Just to give you a bit of background as to how it came about, a few weeks ago I was just meandering around YouTube and came across this interesting video clip that was put together by John McDougall, and it was talking about research that's been undertaken as a result of archaeological finds of a gladiator burial pit in Western Turkey. And I think the study came out in 2014, and what the research found was that the gladiator's diet consisted of a plant-based eating regime comprising mostly of barley, beans, squash and various other plant-based foods. So I went to the actual article that it came from and had a read through, which was rather interesting, and looked at some of the assumptions that were made and thought, no, maybe that's not quite right. And what I mean by that is, one of the assumptions made was that because the gladiators were on a low-fat, very high carbohydrate diet, they were fat. And the first thing that sort of got me about that was, if you're actually training for a sport or a competition that resulted in life or death, would you go into that fat and out of condition? Well, my gut tells me that that's not the case, so I think that that one assumption was flawed. The second assumption was that there were issues to do with the gladiators having not enough protein in their diet. That's obviously a marketing myth that's been pushed forward by dairy and meat industry for many, many years, saying that you must eat meat and dairy in order to get your protein, in order to get your calcium as well. But the actual research says that that's not necessarily the case. So anyway, aside from all that, decided what I would do is set up a very, very simple experiment where I would personally work to eat that particular Barley Man Gladiator diet for a period of 6 weeks to see what it does. Now, according to the article, and I'll put that something about that down in the comments field, but according to the article, if someone eats this diet, they're going to get fat, and if they're going to get fat, they're going to get slow. And because they're not eating meat, then they're not going to get their protein requirements, which means that their strength will go down. So the eating plan that I'm going to put forward is going to be a grain-based, vegetable-based eating regime. I'm going to do that for 6 weeks, and I'm also going to have some measures that I'm going to put in place to see whether or not those issues do actually occur. So I'm going to measure my weight to see what happens there, if does it go up or does it go down. I'll use tape measures so I can actually do measurements of my neck and bicep, around the chest, the navel, the hips, the inside thigh, etc., and give myself a good BMI index from that. I'll also redo my bloods at the end of the experiment, which will be in September, and I'll also record my daily food intake so I can keep an eye on what the macros are and the micronutrients are, just in case there are any queries about that. So what I will be eating is a diet consisting of barley, beans, lentils and peas. I'm looking up here because I'm reading what's on my screen. I'll also augment that with herbs and spices. I'll use a bit of creativity, but stick within the confines of those ingredients. In addition to that, I'll eat fruits such as figs, grapes, plums, pears, dates, cherries and peaches, which were common in that particular area at that particular time. But I will also eat readily available fruits and vegetables that occur and are available at this time of the year, but keeping as close to that as possible. But one of the things that I will not be doing is I will not be eating any meat for that period of time. There's no dairy whatsoever, no fish. I will not be adding any oil into the diet. There'll be no added refined sugar in the diet, and those things will be completely out of my eating plan. So that's pretty much the basis on which I'm going to get underway. I'll post updates regularly, a few pictures and videos of various things as I go, and we'll see where we go from there. But according to the research, I'll end up fat and weak. But according to my assumption, and I'll be doing a bit more reading about that and present it in updates as it comes up, because I've had a look at what's generally available when you do a Google search, and it's pretty much sort of focused around interpretations on the same piece of research that was undertaken in 2014 as a result of the excavation. But then when you go to the likes of Google Scholar and actually search up what the diets were for gladiators, etc., it's based on empirical and scientific research, and that's where your most credible findings are going to come from. So in my reading, I'll refer refine what I'm eating over time and present that information as it comes in. So yeah, according to the research, I'm going to end up fat and weak, but I think I'm actually going to end up lean and strong. So we'll see how that goes. Please make sure you subscribe so you can get regular updates, and I'll keep you posted.